Good evening and welcome to another edition of African Americans, the thing show that proves without a shadow of a doubt that the so-called African American didn't find their way to America in the trunk of a ship. I'm your host, the Indigenous One.
Oh, my computer went crazy.
Last week, we were talking about the genealogy, ways to find your family. There's all kind of ways, and I'm sure many of you guys come up with your own ways yourself. So, from that program, just been bombarded with calls, and we want to show you some other techniques that you could use in trying to find your family, trying to find, where they lived, what they did, what did they live by. So we're going to share some of those things with you tonight. But before we get into that, we want to talk about something that's really lacking in the community, and that's the mutual respect. That you should have for an animal. You have it for strangers, but we seem to lack it when it comes to ourselves. So we want to go over that tonight, look at that, run, see how we're doing with that. And to help me do that, as always, is the Accomack godmama from the Accomack Nation, Miss Lisa Cypress. How you doing, Lisa?
Hey, Kayuk. Thank you for having me. How are you doing today? How was your week?
It was great.
Yeah, it was great. Yay, mine was too.
Cool.
Busy but good. Mm.
So we have a little bit of reverb. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to just control it through our, so you can't hear me talking when I'm on your end. It sounds horrible. So, when you say the respect that we once had is now gone. What do you mean by that? And could you give us some ideas of how that goes down?
Well, I think that just this culture, like this culture where everything's about just showing everything and being just extra and just ego and just all this stuff that's not about what is on the inside, and all this stuff that's not about growing. It's about showing, right? Everything's about showing. Nothing is about growing. And instead, we have people that, it doesn't even matter what they say. They say it with a lot of attitude and a growl and a high pitch and a joke, and people will actually co-sign it, and it makes no sense. It can be complete bull. It could have no credibility, no validity, but yet they'll find these people that will co-sign on this ignorance, and it's really disheartening. It's also bad that we have a bunch of women who are just bad mouthing men and men that are bad mouthing women. When did we become these people? That's not the people I grew up with. I don't know who they grew up with, but that's not the people I grew up with. I didn't grow up with people that hi Sophia. I I didn't grow up with people that just disrespected each other and just talked all crazy to each other, about each other, stranger or no stranger. We had a civility with each other. Stranger or no, family or no, we had a way of a mannerism, a way of treating each other with honor. We saw the greatness in each other. We didn't try. Our whole mission was not to try to degrade each other, to outshine each other, to make each other seem a certain way. It was just about being the light and being light and shining a positive light on each other.
Making them shine so both of you guys can shine brighter.
Right. This is the thing. We used to make an effort to, man, oh man, compliment each other. Man, you look sharp. You look sharp, man. You know what? Wait, man, where'd you get them shoes? Man, them gators are looking, man. You know how to dress, man. Oh yeah, your car, man, is looking great. Oh yeah, you're looking good. Oh, you look good in that outfit. Oh, I love your hat. Oh, I love your hair. You know, we were giving the flowers to each other on a regular basis. That's how we lived our lives daily, right? We did that. And now it's like we have this social media that we sit upon, and it peels all over into your real life where you don't really know how to act in person either. Or you create this negative energy that doesn't need to exist, but you created this on this social media. So now you have this whole negative thing in the atmosphere that shouldn't be there. But because you got behind your camera or your laptop and decided to talk crazy, now you got all this negative energy around you. You've manifested this whole negativity around what you've been saying. And it's like, what is that about? So I mean, we need to look at that. We also need to look at, you know, what is a woman and what is a man, and when did it become our objectives to be objectified? Because we didn't objectify each other. That's not how we used to be. We didn't treat each other like objects. And yes, exactly, low vibrations. We didn't treat each other like objects, and we didn't treat ourselves, more importantly, like that. And what you see yourself as, how do you expect anybody else to see you any differently? That's the other part of it. You know, that's a problem. So anyway, so let me go ahead and get my screen share together, because I don't think
While you're doing that, let me share this with you. What you just brought up is real important. My mother is like one of those 7-day Adventists, whatever they call themselves. I don't really know. And so she's looking after this elderly lady, and she told me something today, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. She said this woman is 100, sitting up in her house dying. She goes in there, the only thing they have for is not funny, but it's like, I can't believe motherfuckers this cold-blooded toward each other for money. Got her 2 bottles of Ensure, a little cup of water that you like rinse your mouth out with at the dentist. That's the water she has to drink. And that's what she has for the day. The family is pulling in $6,200 a month. And they got her living like this. Where did that come in? And when, like when you say objectify, when did we start being like that?
when did we stop like being people that are caring and loving and respectful? And when did we stop looking in the mirror? Because, you know, for all the things that people that I hear people, especially on social media, getting mad about, the main problem is that people don't look in the mirror. Because, I mean, anytime, like, okay, for instance, like I was saying to you earlier, my daughter was saying something to me that she was saying, because she's married, and she was talking about her family, extended family, and stuff like that. She was like, well, Mom, I noticed that, you know, you never said anything negative about Dad. Like, you never were like, blah, 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 your father, da, 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 da. You never like talk bad about him, you know, and you made sure we had some kind of connection to his family. She said, you never were like, you know, you only, and I'm like, you know, and then she said, but I learned on my own that he's a, you know, a-hole. I found that out as I got to be an adult, you know, or older, or even before, whatever point she did make that her judgment. I mean, it didn't come from me, right? And the reason being is that, was he, you know, somebody I could talk badly about? Yes. But what the thing that I came to do was to look in the mirror, and I said, I married this guy, and he had all kinds of red flags. He had sirens. He had warning. He had people jumping out in the middle of the street. Don't do it. You know, I mean, everything you can think of that could tell me that, though this nigga look good, do not cross this. Do not enter the zone. Okay. He is a broken person. You know,
Let me ask you
everything
this.
I had.
Let me ask
I
you
was
this.
in the
Let me ask you this. Do you think most of us go through that, being that we don't have a culture, we're not connected to our culture where, the parents can watch the kids grow up and kind of can see who vibrate with each other. Do you think that's from
no,
that?
I mean, I don't think that was that. My parents told me this don't do this. However, I mean, I felt like I didn't really I was naive and didn't really have a sense of who I was, my self-worth, what I needed to look, I didn't really figure that out. And nobody really painted it out for me. And I didn't have it like naturally like my mom did, right? I didn't just have that. So I feel like when you do make those mistakes, and people make that mistake all their lives and be well into their 60s and still making that kind of mistake, still doing the same stuff. Because if you don't self-reflect, that's what's going to happen, right? If you don't self-heal. But you have to understand that every decision you make that really by yourself, for yourself, right? So how can I be mad that this guy is a jerk and a horrible husband or father, and I made that decision? It was all me. He can only be him. I can't be mad because he's him, but I can be mad at me for making a poor choice. But see, conveniently, somehow we don't want to be mad at ourselves. We want to be mad at them. You're the one that's messed up, not me. You're messed up. No, I'm messed up because I made the decision to get myself involved with someone who was not right. Not right for me, not right for my life, not right for my future. And I didn't see that. My fault. So this is the thing when I see people coming to the defense of women that get messed up, that get beat, they get involved with these guys that are just creeps and do creepy things to them. When you're a woman, you're not a baby in a stroller, okay? You're a whole woman. You want to get paid the damn same. You want to be able to buy a house, buy a car, start your business, do everything else you want to do. But when it comes to your personal life, all of a sudden you can't handle yourself. You got to have everybody coming to rally and put flags up for you and put up signs. Bitch, no, that's not fair. You have to be responsible for yourself. If you go to a man's house or apartment or a hotel in the middle of the night, you're not going to play Monopoly. You're not going
Scrabble?
to play Monopoly.
Can we
And
get
if you, and let me say this, I feel like if you do it, you're implying consent. But see, society don't want to say that to you. But I'm going to say it. You're implying consent. You got to be responsible for the signals you send and the decisions you make. Yeah, you got a right to say no whenever you say yes, you do. But you also have a right to protect yourself and think and do smart things. And people don't need to be poo-hooing you when you're being dumb and you're not taking care of yourself. Unless you're mentally handicapped or disabled, differently abled, or you're a cuckoo baby, you know, yeah, those we protect, those we come to the defense to. But grown ass women, no, I ain't defending you. Defend yourself. Think about yourself. He was a creep when you met him. He was a creep coming in the door. It's like when people complain about HEMOC. HEMOC is a user. Gives you pimp energy. Anybody who complains about HEMOC is a baby and a fool. Because anybody who can't identify him from, like, I have a 3-minute conversation, I was like, oh, know what he is. If you can't identify what he is and you walk into some kind of deal with him, shame on you. You're the dummy. You're an idiot. And if you complain about it, you're even worse. You're a loser and a big old whatever. What? Who does that? Who gets into a relationship and you're a whole man with a man and then whines about it when they get had or they get got? When you know he got that spirit, he got that energy. You're supposed to be indigenous. You're supposed to know this. You're supposed to be a chief. So you should know when somebody is out to get you. You should know when somebody's playing games and they about that game. They a hustler. He might got hustler energy. You don't see that? Then you need to be hustled. And you deserve to be hustled. And you need to shut up about being hustled and just take your licking and keep on ticking. It don't make no sense to complain. We're grown people. We're grown people. And as women, we have a responsibility not to be, not to portray ourselves or not to get ourselves out there in a certain way. Let me see my stuff.
Hawkeye says Brittany Gardner situation is another example. Who's Brittany Gardner?
Oh, that's that what is that, a new police case? I don't know the Brittany Gardner thing. I don't keep up with the news like that. Maybe we should Google it.
Okay. But as you were saying.
Yeah, okay, we'll get to that later maybe. But anyway, babe, we got the term F-boy. We got these girls that are, we went from video vixen to Instagram hoes. Like we just keep going down. We just keep moving down. What is that? So, if we are, proudly declaring, yeah, I'm an F-boy, or yeah, I'm a hoe, what do you expect's going to happen to us? We talk about different people that's in the indigenous community. Look, I know people get angry, but let me tell you something. We talk about each other. We talk about women, the matriarch destroying families. Why are we doing this stuff? This is the thing that I don't understand, okay? This is the thing that I don't get. Why are these discussions happening where we're talking about cancel? Why we're talking about each other in this way? Like, that's what I don't get. So what I think it is that there's this thing where people want attention, right? This is in the community. This is what's happening. Everybody wants attention, and they don't care how they get the attention. They don't care how they get the numbers. They don't care how they get the views. If they get the views by talking about somebody in a derogatory way, they're going to get them. The persons that I just showed, their numbers over doubled just by talking about, Phoenix and Shan. Phoenix and Shan, they got their own issues. Okay, they talk about men a lot. This guy starts talking about them a lot, and then there's other guys talking about them a lot, talking about women. We got a battle of daggone the sexes. It makes no sense, because in the reality is that these are grown people talking about grown people, and it doesn't really matter. Women do dumb things. And the most important person that can't afford to do dumb things are our women. We can't afford to be foolish. Men can be foolish, but they can only be as foolish as we allow them to be.
Right, but brothers shouldn't be on that kick, just to do something just because you can, and it doesn't produce anything. So as men, we have a responsibility too, and the wrong shit is just dogging out your women, in public. In private is worse, but just dogging out your women, your daughter, all that, the whole thing about respect. Where's that? We can't even communicate with each other. And the cold part about that, the real cold part about that, is that these people be having hundreds of thousands of views. So how are we attracted to that? How are we vibrating to that type nonsense?
Right. Right. Exactly. Why do we find it attractive to be around, to hear people who are angry and who are like just being just derogatory towards each other, talking in a way that makes you just, it brings you down. It eats away at your soul. Although you may not realize it, it deteriorates us in tiny ways and in big ways. Just listening to that kind of stuff. When really we got to understand that we are just amazing people and we have a history that's not even a history. It is a recent life of love and respect and, and unity and appreciation. That is what we come from. So how do we let people change our direction like that? We're being misdirected to behave like this. And then we have these, maybe they're white, maybe they're black supremacists. I don't know what they are, but they're misleading everyone to vibrate in that same negative way and to focus on those same negative things. When in reality, the bra wants the woman's attention. This is how it starts. The women, Phoenix, whatever, Shan, very attractive. Brothers want their attention. I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to say it because nobody's saying it. Brothers want their attention. They get up there and they get their attention. They expect that they may actually, from having their attention, may actually get put on, may get some fame or get some of their light, or like maybe even get some attention from them where they like them. I don't know. But it doesn't happen the way they want it to. They don't get the attention they want. And they get angry. The brothers get angry. That's the way I see it. They get angry. And then they're going to say all kinds of derogatory things because all of a sudden they feel disrespected. So they're going to show those hoes, whatever. Yeah, I'm going to show you. I'm going to tell you about yourself. I'm exposing you for who you blah, blah, blah. For what? See, we never would, even if that's not how we used to do. We never would put all that stuff out there and try to tear each other down because we mad, because that's not how we did it. That's not how we did it.
No, that's not how we do it now.
And that's not how we do it now when you are who you're supposed to be. You don't do that. That's not the way it's done, and that's not how we do it. The real Indians don't do that. You don't do that. Because it's ridiculous. It is not worth it. These people, and especially on social media, because you can block people. Like, it's just that simple. Block them. I'm not going to have a conversation with you like today. Had a daggone interaction with Chitty Pop or whoever his name is. And I was like, I'm just going to block you because, I'm not going to get into an argument with someone who is derogatory. We're not doing that. I'm not doing that. I don't need that kind of energy. We don't need to be exchanging energy in this way. If that's the way you want to vibrate, go over there and be angry by yourself somewhere. But we over here we're trying to be good. We got to be positive. We're trying to build. We're trying to grow. We're not trying to be somewhere where we're tearing each other up and being all grouchy. What's that about?
Stuck in the mud.
We don't need to fight for people that don't need protection. The protection should have came when they used their good common sense. And if they don't got good common sense, what we should be doing is like, women, let's get together so we can teach each other how to have a little common sense, because we obviously don't know how to do that. But rallying behind someone who is an idiot is not how we do it. We don't rally behind idiots. No. Like I said, there are differently able people that we have to have compassion and protect. There are babies that we need to protect, but we don't protect grown women who do dumb things and don't respect themselves. That we don't. And a lot of times, a lot of these arguments are about dumb women who don't protect themselves and how they go head over heels for these guys who give you every sign that they're an asshole. They got the track records, they got the warning sign, and then we get mad because he kicks her in the belly while she's pregnant. Well, he got anger issues and he's done other things. So why are you surprised? You're the one who wanted to make a whole baby with this guy. And now you want to protect the dumb girl who went and reproduced with this man who she knew was problematic, and he gave her signs the whole time? No, you don't come to her rescue. She needs a wake-up call, not a hug.
So why
She
does
needs,
everybody keep thinking that they do need a hug instead of a wake-up call? Because now you're being mean. She needs help. She came to walk, do it by herself. Why is that always the prevailing sentiment?
well, I mean, unless you just, the only time that they need help is if they need shelter and you need to get them a protective order and get them shelter. Whereas that kind of situation. And then that's what you need. You need to, if you want to offer them your couch, that's what you need to do. Offer them your couch. But that's the thing. Then he may come over there with a gun. I'm just saying, but they have shelters and things. But I mean, the reality is the best protection is to be smart and to make good decisions. And then when you see that you're making a bad one, reverse, hit the reverse quickly and get yourself out of there. Make a plan, have mad money, as my mom would call it, and lots of mothers have said, have money so if you get mad or you need to get, or you are too sad, you need to get gone, that you actually have the resources to get away and get something, at least get a hotel or something to take care of you and yours for a minute. But I mean, I think we just lost just sight of, you know, just who we have been and what we're supposed to be like, right? We just kind of lost that. We lost the whole respectability. We lost, we used to, these are my grandparents, my big daddy and big mama. We're having to respect in class. I would never conceive of the fact that my big daddy would have a whole bunch of pictures of damn women that are naked in his phone, or my big mama have a whole bunch of dick pictures. Come on now. What's going on? Maybe people haven't experienced love and honor or seen it. And then what also happened to our self-control? And why don't we have our egos in check? Because we used to have that. And by the way, even in black and white, doesn't that chocolate cake look just like it's delicious? So I say this to say that the woman is the gatekeeper. She sets the rules of interaction. If we close for business, don't nobody get no business. If we require you to do certain things, to treat us with a certain level of respect, the respect will rise, unless everybody turns into homosexuals. You know what I'm saying? And even in those relationships, the level of respect must rise when you set the bar. But if you set the bar low, where all you got to do is send me a dick pic and I'm going to show you my whole entire ass, then yeah, what do you expect? Where do we go from here? We're going as low as we can go. We're not gonna have men that are gonna, because their attention. You've given everything, and what is it? What else is there? You've made everything so easy and so out there, and so come on.
Giving
We
them the
need to have standards. Go ahead.
giving them the dessert first. He ain't gonna even want the meal.
Exactly. Our men, they build the fortresses, they protect the woman, the children, and they fight. And he fights and provides for them. I mean, that you're protecting. You don't attack a woman. I mean, a man that feels like he has to attack verbally or physically a woman ain't a man. The powerful thing a man can do is to just be quiet and walk away. That's the most powerful thing a man can do. You ain't gonna have no argument by yourself, are you, woman? No. But a man will just walk outside and go do something. A man will just shut his mouth and go take a walk. But a man who's going to sit there and get in a bitch to bitch interaction, you just put yourself on the same level as another female. You feminizing yourself. See, men don't see that these Negroes, and women don't see that. These Negroes that do this kind of arguing back and forth with women, do you see how feminine you look? That's very feminine. Men don't do that. You must not have seen what men, you not experienced what men do. But that's not what men do. Men don't do that kind of stuff. It don't work like that. You got anything else for us?
No, just basically what you're saying for the men, and like you say, they don't attack them physically, but also don't attack them mentally or the kids mentally by lying and bullshitting them.
Mm-hmm.
And I see, so you had one of your homeboys the other day wanted to repent to the community because he's been lying, talking a bit about this prosperity type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine how many minds were screwed up by that.
Mm-hmm.
And imagine how many people go in and protect this brother and say that's what gets me. It's like you said, we can't see these things. We can't see all this bullshit going around on the West Coast. You surrounded by the Far East, China, Korea, everything. Up north, going across the border to Canada, the same thing. A lot of Russians, Chinese, people coming over from Europe, Eastern Europe. On the East Coast, you got Africa, you got the Caribbean coming up. Well, the Caribbean is part of America, but when they're all up here, they leave their home front naked. You keep that in mind. And from the South, you got all these Mexicans and Cubans and people coming with this Spanish ideology that the shit don't work for them where they're at, so they come here. We don't have no time for no bullshit. Now I know that's what many of us like. We can do whatever we want to do. But look at this closely and look at the position we are in the world. This is just going out to the men because she was talking about the women and I got it. But the men, we're out here arguing with each other. We done already killed off damn near half our population with that crack shit 40 years ago, remember? And we still, that's where we still at. So it's like she said, man, we got to be on a whole nother respect yourself. That's the women, the children, the men, mamas, everybody. Show some respect to each other. If you can't show no respect, shut up. It's just that simple. So that's it, Lee. You're muted.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it doesn't make any sense that, we're doing this right now, that we actually are in a place where we do it in front of everybody. How old can you be to be on Facebook? Like 8, 12? What is it? Something like that. 15? I don't know what the age is. But whatever the age is, you're doing it in front of your children because you're doing it in front of your children. And a lot of these people, like a lot of these, even like these video lives and these things, they tend up there, got their kids in the background talking like an animal, arguing like an animal. So I mean, what you create in the next generation, a beast? Like, who does that? Why would you be that type of person that you're doing this and you're teaching it to the babies? See, that's what I mean about the wrong people having children. That's a whole nother conversation. You know, the ones that are so abusive and so crazy and so like act like animals, act like they came out of some kind of zoo or some circus. Come on now.
You're
We've got
right.
to do better. We are a very majestic people. All this battle that you hear on the internet about patriarchs versus matriarchs, that's a bunch of bull. Because that whole concept of one or the other is controlled our society is a bunch of bull. You know, from my experience with the Akamats, we've had queens and kings. If you want to say queens and kings, you want to say empresses and emperors, you want to say chiefs and chiefesses, whatever you want to say, because pretty much all of it's our language. If you really ask me, um, we had all of that. We've always had women who were ruling as well as men. Now people will say, yeah, they ain't had that over there. As if they've looked through every document, every record, every book. I know for myself, I'm finding out stuff every day about my folk. So I mean, the fact that these people are out there trying to claim that it was all patriarchal or da 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 da, and that's the daggone tribal law. Come on now,
You
just
know,
stop.
and another thing about that, Lisa, and this is why it's important just to go look. A lot of people be talking and they don't even go look up their grandmama. They just jump right over to Africa, right off the boat. I mean, you would probably find pictures, you would probably find your people wrote up in newspapers and stuff, and we won't even go look it up. Yet we yap about nothing. All this stuff going on, all these people here, and you're not a part of it at all, and other people coming over to replace you, and you're the biggest disrespect you have for each other. So if that keeps up, Lisa, what do you see happening?
What do I see happening if it keeps up? I mean, I'm hopeful that I see that a lot of young people are actually smarter than what we are. You know what I mean? That's what I'm hopeful about. I'm hopeful in that. I actually see that there are a lot of young people who are getting a little bit better. I mean, I don't know. I'm encountering some young men and women that I'm finding to be give me hope. You know, I think that also we need to take time with our grandchildren and our children and our young children and our young people and try to, give them the guidance so that they don't act like some of these grown people that we are dealing with today. Like we need to get we need to get rid of them. Like, we need to make sure that we are not perpetuating, you know, the behavior that we're seeing out there and just encourage respectfulness amongst our young people and our children and our grandchildren. That's how we can change it. We just got to change the direction. And we also got to make sure of the different things that we show them. Like, don't be like some of these people that are, cussing out women on the internet in front of their kids. You babysitting your children and you yelling at women on the internet? You don't think that they don't pick up that? They're gonna go to school and yell at their classmates and be whatever. I mean, come on, go to the cookout with the family and start beating their cousins in the head. Stop. So I mean, we need to make sure that we do our parts. There's not going to be a lot of us that are going to be winners in this. Most of these people that's doing all this talking, they're not going to be in the position that those of us in this chat and that watch this program are going to be in. So they're going to, you know, they're going to fall on their ignorance. They're going to fall on their misinformation, and they're not going to be in the position that we're in, you know. But it's up to us to build societies that are going to be exemplary of our past, exemplary of how we used to treat and have always treated ourselves, and the way we are used to being treated. You know, we we had I don't know, but we had love. It wasn't that we didn't fight. It's not that we don't fight. But when we do it, we know how to get back. You know what I mean? We know how to come back from it. Like you heard me talk to my sister, right? Because my sister, we had battled. And my sister's not me. I actually no. I was running for Penny like the other year, like last when I was at her house, she was gonna beat my ass. I was like, what the hell? She about to beat my ass. I'm like, I got to run. I was like, I don't know. I never fought her before. But you know what I mean? So I mean, not that we don't fight, but we do. But we love each other. The basis of our relationships are love. So I mean, we know how to rebound. We know how to, we know how to get back. My older sister, had made it very plain that she felt like the younger two, myself and my younger sister, that we owe her for the years of babysitting and care. And I was like, what? I'm like, I'm still in debt. Like, how do I work my way out of this? Like, hadn't I paid? You know, so I was like, so the other day, she called. She's like, "Oh, Lee, thank you for," and I was like, "So, like, how am I doing? Like, how's debt looking a little bit better? Have I improved?" "Oh, Lee, you get out of here. You overpay. You overpaid." Whatever. But see, that's the way, it's just like a love thing. Even though that, your family's crazy and they can talk real mad cash about you and really be abusive. You know what I mean? But you just like, at the basis of them is love. And if I can't, at the moments when I really couldn't feel the love from my siblings or whoever, all I thought of was what my parents would want me to do. And so when I talk about the fact that, I had got upset because I feel like when siblings fight over money and stuff like that, I find, because I've been in that position, and that what I think that is the problem with that is that you got to think about what your parents would have wanted. They didn't want you to fight. They didn't want you to tear each other to pieces. Somebody has to be the person that rises and shows the love, or at least, not if not love at the moment, the tolerance, and maybe some Xanax or some weed, but something so that you can get through that awful time when people are treating you badly. You have to be able to overcome it in counseling, because sometimes, I know people say you're counseling, but sometimes talking to a sister who is a counselor or a brother who's a counselor, they don't have to say nothing. Being in a room with one of your indigenous people and knowing that you're heard, even though they don't give you no advice, there's something about that. There's something about just having that bouncing your words, your feelings off of somebody, especially when it's us, right? That is a powerful exchange of energy and healing, you know? Yes, your parents are important. I always think of my parents, though they're gone, they're always communicating with me and bossing me around. I mean, this morning I woke up early, hellified early, so that I could call the doctor, no, get an Uber sent to New Jersey to wake up my sister because she had lost her phone and I couldn't reach her. So I had the Uber driver knock on the door. Okay. But I promise to you, my mother got me up earlier than my alarm that I set. She wanted to make sure I got my sister to the doctor. Right. So, I mean, yes, we have to respect our parents, our forefathers, and the people that are here, because although you might not care for your brother Joe or your sister Sandy or whoever, they did. They loved them. That was their baby. They nurtured that child. They raised them. And maybe you don't care for them that much, but you got to love them because your family loved them, or you got to love them for the sake of your parents. That's how you have to roll with some of these things. You got to roll with it like that. You got to make your mind up like that. And in talking about families, I'm work on a lot of stuff and research with my family, and people have been calling me with genealogy questions. I've been trying to reach back to people and talk to people about things, and I don't want to put anybody's information out there that's not mine, because I have that private number that I let them text me to, and I don't want to share their information. But I will share you something that came up that my daughter found today about that she gave me a link, these maps, and I told her I was looking for these different, various information, and she found these maps. But these maps contain stuff that was surprising to me. Now, this is about connecting to your homeland and to your folk, because this is on the Eastern Shore where all my family's from, right? So this is the Eastern Shore. Now, this map happens to have plots and names. All right. These names are the surnames in my family. And I can tell you that although they may try to, people will come to your land and try to assume your identity. They'll take on your surnames. They will do that. Hallett is on my mother's, Hallett's on my dad's side of family. So it's, and all his family were in this region, and they still are. I still have land that comes from this side of family that's in this area, like somewhere around here. Oh, you can't see my finger. But anyway, basically it's in the bottom region where it says Thomas Hallett. That's where my, there's still land to this day, probably more than I really realized. Because look at Thomas Hallett, look at the Fitchett, that's my cousins. Look at the Griffith, that's another grandmother. That's the grandmother on my dad's side. So is Thomas Hallett, Nottingham's. Okay, those are cousins. And then up here joins, that's my mother's side. There's another William Dixon. Why I know these people are my people, or first of all, is that these Indians had money. Like the Griffins, they were lawyers in that family. And the Dixon, known to be one of the early doctors, like in the 1700s. So we have, so these people were landowners, and they were able to, educate and do different things because of the land owning and the money that they had. So, I mean, the evidence is there. Now, all this land is not our land anymore. Like all this, look at this, all it is. Travers, that's another family. Maybe somebody who's an Accomack who don't know they're Accomack. Dixon, that's all the way to the water edge. All this stuff goes all the way to the water, okay? Those are waterfront properties, all it is. The woods, water, all that, because this is on a peninsula.
So basically what you're saying is when we call ourselves, the first thing we do is we hop over to Africa, and we turn our back on all of this. And
yes, you turn your back on all of this.
And so you're saying other people just come over and scoop it up.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there are people, when I was last at the courthouse, there was a Asian woman in there looking up documents. I'm like, what are you looking up documents for? Most of these old documents, because it was a historical courthouse. So if you're looking up documents in there, you're most likely looking up things that don't have nothing to do with you, because no Asian people were landowners over there. Also, I encountered an African man in the graveyard amongst my people. I was like, so what do you, I asked him, I made a U-turn in the graveyard, and I said, what were you looking for? He said he made up some story saying he has a friend, he went to school out here, his friend has family, and they're buried in here, so he always stops by the graveyard.
Yeah, right.
Right. They look for names. They look for our names that they could assume and connect with. Now it's so prevalent that people take on other people's names that when you apply for a job, they ask you, do you have an assumed name? I mean, I know y'all are making up, some people are making up really weird names that aren't your own, but that's another thing that we need to stop doing. Stop calling yourselves El Bays or Susu Says or Jitty Wasis or whatever. Your name is your power. Your name is your connection to your kin. Like if I go ahead and say, all right, let me go ahead and let's look for the Dixons. Let me go search mine. Yeah. Oh, okay. Search the tree. Which tree is this? Dixon. All right, let's do Rachel. All right, so when we start talking about Dixons, I don't really work on Dixons very much, but she got 3 hints. So she applied for a Civil War pension. She was in Capeville, which is exactly where that property area was. She was a Griffith, right? She actually was born a Dixon, but she married a Griffith. So that's how the connection is. And she was married to Henry Cypress. That's how the Cypress came in. And that's where she filed for the Civil War widowers remarried widow pension. She got a remarried, they got a remarried widow pension. She got that.
Lisa, let me just throw this in.
Uh-huh.
And this is why the genealogy search is important. Check this out, y'all. And just think about this. So this woman, Civil War pension, 1848. Out of the people who are here now, how many of them were here in 1848?
Right.
We ain't even talking about her mama and her daddy.
Right.
How many of these people were here in 1848?
Right.
But what the African America will vote those people in
Mm-hmm.
to the places that you're supposed to be in. You will vote.
Right.
What's the chick name who's the I
The
mean they
Supreme Court,
no. The chick who talks all the time.
the news person.
Yeah.
Joy Reid or whatever.
No, she's the House. She speaks for the House.
Or the Speaker of the House.
She speaks for Biden every time he's not there. I mean, every
How about
time.
the VP? No.
What's the chick? Jean Pierre.
Oh, I don't know. I
Karen
don't know.
Pierre.
Oh, I don't know.
They call her Stud Pierre.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, she's from Haiti.
Wow.
And she's doing jobs that your mamas used to pray that you get.
Right. I don't understand. That's right.
Yeah, and you just you throw it away and let
Mm-hmm.
other people come and take your position. That's what pisses me off about the Negro.
Yeah.
And then they have an attitude about it like, you leave me alone. Dude, are you serious? So
Right.
if they doing this to you, just imagine what they're gonna do to your kids.
Right. This is
You can't go over to where they live and do what they're doing over here, can you? See, this is what I'm saying. This is the kind of stuff we arguing, fussing, and fighting about dumb shit.
right.
For real.
That part.
Yeah.
That part. Exactly. Because this is the thing. They could come over and they didn't even go to high school with us. Did you go to high school with Africans? I didn't go to high school with Africans. I didn't go to high school with these East Asian, these Pakistanis. They were not in school with me at all. They did not exist in 1982, 1978, 1980. They were not here. And all of a sudden, they're everywhere. They're running our country. They're running our companies. They got every opportunity that belonged to the Negro. And y'all don't care. Y'all don't even care. Y'all happy to work at Amazon. Y'all happy to work at Amazon. You don't care that they made it impossible for you to go to school, but they dropped the standards so these daggone mother suckers could go to school. You don't care that they made it impossible for you to afford an education, but these damn immigrants are going to school for free. You don't care. And then you don't care that you have property that's just sitting out there with your people's names on it all over the damn country. Oh, and let me also tell you this. There's also gold all over the place. There's a video that I came across today that talks about gold even in Virginia. There's gold all the way along the Appalachians. And you're just letting go of all that land. Because a lot of you Negroes got land all along Kentucky, Tennessee, Virginia. It actually stops once it gets, the gold actually stops once it gets towards Alabama. but there's gold. Now they got the equipment, they can just geo-find stuff. They know, and they got it labeled, whether it's actual solid gold, whether it's gold mixed with iron. They know exactly where everything is. And all they got to do is get rid of you dummies. No, I'm not going to call y'all dummies. Y'all ain't dummies. All they got to get rid of these dummies that's fighting and carrying on, and these daggone African Americans who want to go back to Africa. That's all they got to do. Because they're in the way. But maybe they're not in the way, because if you don't wake up and do anything about it, you can't, you're not a threat. You're not a threat. But let me tell you something else. That as we learn more about this country, the reality that we have to all face in this room, and then in our history and our investigation and our research, is that this United States, and I was talking with Zena about this today, is a union of all the nations. It's not a United States, because really there weren't states. You know, in 1776 there weren't states, really. They were just colonies. It wasn't really states. So what they were unifying was Europe. This is the United States of Europe. The celebration of 1776 was really a celebration of the United States of Europe. Europe unified here. That's why all these immigrants are always welcome here, because this is united Europe. The only ones that they were fighting, everybody hated England, because England took from everyone. They stole from everyone. They still steal from everyone. And everybody was mad, and they all fought here. The little bit of colonial people that was over here couldn't have won no 1776. There were 2 battles against England, 1776 and 1812. France, Italy, Germany, all these people helped. Freaking Spain, Portugal, they all helped win this country. Everybody owns a piece of this country. But they all own it. That's why these immigrants treat us like this. It's an immigrant country. It's not, they try to, this is what's so crazy. They try to make us think that this is a British colony, that this is a British country. We don't talk like Brits. We don't even talk like all those Europeans. We really talk like Indians. Most of what we speak, I promise you, is indigenous. And the whole country, the whole planet speaks like us. If we say F-boy, the whole world is saying F-boy. If we say hoes, the whole planet is saying hoes. If it's true now, why don't you believe that it was true back then? We made the language that we speak. And that's why when Negroes are on here talking about, that's that European, no, that's that British English. No, nigga. We speak our language. Think about it. Just think. We speak our language. The world speaks our language. They say words in England that we don't ever use. And guess what? Neither does the rest of the world. We are speaking in our tongue. And every new word we come up with, they get it. They copy it. And it goes in the dictionary. On top of that, bootylicious, whatever. It becomes a part of the dictionary. Because we speak our words. We are speaking our tongue. Don't let them get us twisted up. We are no longer under any guise of confusion. We know, we see it. We see it. We see that we made everything. We see that everybody copies us, but it's not just now, it's always been. And that we see we have been invaded by all of Europe and Asia. We've been invaded. This is the united planet living here, not the United States of America. They ain't got nothing to do with being American. They ain't got nothing to do with being American, but they are united. We got the United Nations living here. That's what we have.
Got to ask yourself, why are all these places leaving their homeland? Why are all these people leaving where their mothers and grandmothers are from? Because they know your mothers and fathers left you an inheritance and you not even thinking about it.
Right.
You thinking about the Middle East. You over in Greece somewhere. So what happens to the children of those people?
Right.
So that's why I'm saying we got to have a respect for each other, you know, and we got to stop being dumb, y'all. That's not a putting nobody down or nothing, but damn. It's
exactly.
Like we argue over the stuff that don't make, and you know you lying, and you know you wrong. And the only way you're going to change is just to admit that, hey, I shouldn't be doing this. And you'll most likely never do that again. If you focus on it, you don't want to keep, who wants to keep making the same mistakes over and over again? Only an idiot would want to do that. Self, like Lisa was saying earlier, you got to have some self introspection about yourself and change. It's just that simple. Because if we don't,
we got to do better to be better.
It's just that plain and simple.
But we got everything we need right here. They have gold in Virginia. They have oil in Virginia. They got gold in Tennessee, Kentucky, parts of Alabama, Georgia. Come on.
They don't have gold.
Silver.
You have gold.
Exactly. You have gold. They don't have it. That's why they want you to be ignorant. That's why they want us to fight. We have gold, silver, copper. We've got metals that they need now for this new technology that they need. But most of all, we have melanin. And that's the most precious thing that on the planet, especially with the way the sun is and the way the planets are changing and the way this universe is going to change. Our melanin is the most important thing.
And I know y'all feel this vibration hitting what's happening now. I know you feel it.
Our ability to see through the bull that's going on is a very powerful thing. Our ability to speak on the bullshit that's going on is a very powerful thing. They can hardly keep pace with it. You think they're not nervous? You think they're not concerned? Think again. And they need to be concerned because what they've been doing has been horrific. And the fact that the entire planet conspired in this daggone theft and these lies, and they continue to conspire, is a problem. It's time for us to get ourselves together and find out who's going to be our allies, because we need allies. But most of all, we need each other. And we need to stop fighting over silly things and get down and get with the research. But I also will tell you to go look in books. Look in books. Go to yard sales. Go to your local libraries. Look through those shelves. Look for the books about your area. Look for the books about your county. Look for the books with the maps and the information. Look for the books with the land information. Look for the books with the Indian information from your county, from your area, or just from your state. Everything that you can find about your state, where your people came from, and it's old as heck, you need to get it, grab it, copy it, get it, whatever. But you need to have it because that is going to lead you to your inheritance. That's it.
Go get it, y'all. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. Listen, you don't know how close you are. You don't know your mother and father, grandmother and grandfather is like the picture Lisa showed earlier of her grandparents. You know, they didn't expect their land to get taken. They didn't expect to get ran over because they knew they put it in good hands. And she's doing a hell of a job making sure that the Acamax remain viable on this planet. That's all our job. So we want to thank you guys for joining us tonight, and we'll see you next time. Peace out, y'all.